Dropbox have just like size limits, or what does Dropbox do?
They have a
Yeah.
Like cap.
Yeah, so I think free with Dropbox, if you haven't invited anybody extra or anything like that, they give you 2 gigabytes, and then you can pretty easily get up to 3 or 4 gigabytes just by inviting friends and stuff. Doesn't our Concordia domain now have 5 gigs free? Something like that? Yeah, I think we get like 5 gigs free now. But I pay $100 a month for a terabyte. Or I'm sorry, $100 a year for a terabyte with them.
It's not terrible.
Well, I've been using them since they came out, so I'm kind of married to them at this point. But at some point, I might change. But we'll probably see their model change too if other places are.
Oh yeah, and if Amazon's offering unlimited everything for $60, I mean it's kind of hard to compete.
Okay, so let's see where we left off here. Weren't we getting ready to do something?
Oh man, yeah. There's something we're supposed to remember. I'll tell you in a second.
And I kind of remember the pink screen, and then don't we also have a
It had something to do with
displaying roles? Maybe getting them from the cloud? All right, so user.
Yeah. So right now, like when you go to do the thing, it comes up and it fills the list with blah 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 blah.
Okay.
And we wanted to do the roles.
I get it.
Detailed roles.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, so. Children. All right. So let's look at this guy here. Did we actually create our row yet? Is your homepage register? It doesn't look like it. All right. So right now we have this prototype cell set up. What I want to do is I want to create a custom version of this cell. So right now, do we have this guy set up as being right now we say plain Jane UI table view cell, where we want to be able to do this based on a certain kind of role or something. So we're going to build a custom cell for us here. So I'm going to start off by going up here. I'm going to right click and we're going to do a new file. So this is similar to what we did on the watch side of things, where we would just create an NS object to represent our table rows on the watch. Except here we're actually going to create a UI table view cell as the code behind. Mostly because the phone things are heavier weight than they are on the watch. So we're going to create a Cocoa Touch class, and this guy is going to be a UI table view cell. And we're going to call this custom role cell. Good enough. All right, and we'll go ahead and hit next and create this guy. All right, and then just so we don't forget, drag this up there. We're going to go ahead and let this guy know that he is no longer a normal table view cell. He is now a custom role cell. Yeah, the guy we just created. And now we can go ahead and put some buttons and, well, not buttons, but stuff on there. So let's go ahead and throw a label on here. And this is going to be our, our number of sides. Is it ticking? Is it Am I supposed to open it now, or is it like going to be?
I only opened it because it said they sent me the wrong one. But it didn't.
Because they. Oh, this is the mug. I get it. So is this all from your wallet, or is this the whole class? Oh. So did the class order an entire one too?
They
Or something. I just want to know who I'm giving extra credit to.
No, we're giving you literally like 20 of those.
Oh man, look at this. That's what I'm talking about. Man.
Tap the kick now.
Okay, how does this thing open? I gotta rip this off? Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have to swing by after class down to the caf and fill it.
Ask for 1 cup of coffee, please.
Seriously. Well, thank you. Man, look at this. Look how wimpy my... Take a picture of that. New coffee mug. Thanks to Beyonce Prime.
Have I earned the prime now? Not yet.
Well, with the coffee mug, you do. All right.
Is that what you mean?
Man, so I should have got my chili in there too. Post Thanksgiving bribes.
Pre-finals bribes.
Well, no, this is, I expect more.
Oh, okay.
When you have this level of control. Man, this is even going to get me through my 4-hour grad class on Wednesday. I usually run out about halfway through and then get real cranky. All right, well, thank you. All right, so we have our label here. And let's call this guy, let's see, we have like a quantity, a sides, and then a kind of a detail. So let's call this quantity. And then we're going to have another one for sides. And then for right now, let's just throw a detail in here. Did we already make a custom one of these before?
Yeah, that was what the blah thing was, I thought, but maybe this was a different thing.
No, the blah thing was not. It was a UI table view cell. I thought I at some point, didn't I do like a table view?
Inside of another table view.
Yeah.
We did.
Okay, so we've done this before. That was just our other example. That stuff I deleted a bunch of stuff from. Must have been that.
I think we did it as a cell like this, though. At least I don't remember it.
Well, I would have had to. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to put a table view in there. That's the only way I could have done it, is drag a table view into this. So we'll just have 3 different labels in there for right now, and I'm going to go ahead and hook those guys up. So let me click here, and we need to go to a different file. This is the custom role cell. All right, so we'll do an outlet for our quantity. Rain starting soon. It was really weird rain this morning.
It was freezing rain.
Well, but not really, because
No,
it was yeah, but it was like 36 degrees out, so the ground wasn't slippery at all. Oh, like 6:30 when I came in.
Okay, when I left.
Well, you were still sleeping.
When I left at 7:30, my car had like a layer of like
Oh, okay.
ice on it.
I gotcha. Yeah, no, it was really weird because it was definitely coming down as ice, right?
Yeah.
But it was 36, so it wasn't freezing at all.
Not on the ground.
But I walked outside and I didn't get wet. But it was like pouring. It was very strange because it was really coming down pretty hard when I was coming in then, and it was bouncing off me as ice.
Hail?
But not big hail, you know, like little.
It was just kind of hail?
Yeah, it was strange. So you're just walking through puddles and stuff, and it's pouring, yet you're not wet. All right, so this is quantity label. And then we're going to have sides label. And then we're going to have detail label. For right now, we might do that a different way. Okay. So then for right now, let's just go ahead and fill those guys in with blahs just to prove they're all showing up. Actually, we'll put 3 different kinds of values in there. So let's go into what's this guy? User homepage VC. This guy here. Let's hide that. All right, so we're no longer getting our cell as a plain Jane UI table view cell. Now this guy is a custom role cell. And I kind of have a bad naming convention here because usually classes start with a capital letter, but whatever. All right, so now we're going to go ahead, and that cell no longer has that text label thing. It now has, well, actually, he does still have a text label because he is a UI table view cell, but that's not going to be reachable by us because we overrode that. So cell.quantity label dot text row. Cell dot quantity. Oh, he's a UI view. I must have drugged the wrong thing in there. Because the other one shouldn't be. So cell dot, what is it, sides label? Yeah, that one's a label. For some reason, I must have got the UI view backdrop of the quantity. So we'll say blah sides, something like that. Let me go fix the other guy. So I'll come into our custom role cell. And yeah, here, quantity label should be a UI label, and then we'll have to go rehook it up. So I'll make him a UI label there. And then we'll go back out to our storyboard. We'll go into our label. Just disconnect that guy. And now I need to be able to select on the actual label. There we go. So here's my quantity label. So we'll hook that guy up. All right, so I just created my outlet wrong. I must have drug on the wrong thing. So now back into user homepage VC. So now I should be able to say cell.quantity_label.text is equal to some quantity, and then cell.detail, what do they call it, detail label, I think. That's my version of it. Dot text is equal to woot. So 3 different values will go in there. I should be able to run this guy now and see that I have my custom cell that has things in there. Awesome fatty. All right, so there's our custom cell dealy flippy majiggy thing there. Okay, so let's go and look at Parse. We already have some roles we've created, right? So now we have Parse set up that whenever he receives a role, don't we save it to the cloud? And is that's on the user homepage? No, must be on login. Let's login button pressed. No, is it in app delegate? Reveal yourself. And I'm not talking to you, Haxton.
I didn't hear what you said. Oh, that is a good thing.
All right. Wait.
Well,
Here's my WC session. Ah, here it is. Did receive message. Okay, yeah. So whenever my this is on user homepage. I don't know how I missed it the first time, but whatever. So whenever my app receives a message, it's going to go ahead and write that message to the cloud. So we're parsing it. So we just didn't change the way the watch sends messages to the app. So we received the message. We split it on that space arrow space so we can get our role, pieces of our role. And then we're going to create a new PF object. from class role that we created in Parse. Okay, so this guy right here, here's our PF object from our role class that has an object ID, an owner ID, total, then the details. And I think I said we were going to eventually turn the details into an array, but for right now we just stored it as a big string. Okay, so whatever. So let's go back out here now. So we went ahead and created a PF object associated with a role. We set that role's owner ID equal to whatever user is currently logged in. All right, so that will associate that role that we just made from the watch with this logged in user in the cloud. We will then set the total associated with that role equal to whatever we parse the total, and then set the details equal to whatever was there. Then we'll go ahead and save it in the background. So this is an asynchronous save. And if it worked, great. If it didn't work, whatever. Right now, we're just hard code saving things. Okay? So what we want to do on our user homepage screen, though, is when this first loads, we want to go ahead and grab from the cloud all of the roles associated with this particular user. That is all the roles whose owner ID is equal to the user who's currently logged in. Right now we only have roles from a single owner ID, so we should get 2 back from this guy. But we want to be able to go ahead and request them. So let's go into the documentation here. And let's go to retrieving objects. This will be good enough for right now. So inside of viewDidLoad, let's go ahead and get the current roles associated with this user. So I'll paste this code in here. We're going to create a query, and this is actually going to be a let. That's left over from Swift 1.2. And we're going to get this from class name role. And we're going to have to add a couple of things to our query here. So I'm actually going to gut most of this. So I don't even know why I copied it, but whatever. So we're going to say query dot, is it set value? I think those will give me, yeah, I think that's what I want. So I'm adding some constraints to this, so I only pull the things that I'm interested in, even though in this case, since we only have roles owned by this guy, we should get all the roles as equal to the roles associated with this logged in user. But we're going to set the value to, what is it, phone core dot current user, and the key is owner underscore ID. All right, so we're adding a constraint to this query. All right, so we only want roles whose owner ID is equal to the current user that's logged in. Okay, remember that guy's a pointer, so I'm not going to pass it the current user's object ID. Instead, I'm passing it the actual current user. Okay, because that guy is a pointer, so I'm going to give him the pointer. Then I can go ahead and do query dot what is it, get so just get in background. Find objects. Find objects in background, and this is going to be a query block, this guy. So I'll go ahead and do that, do that, do that. All right, so we'll call this guy objects. It's going to be that guy, and this is going to be error. It's going to be that guy. All right, so for right now, let's just go ahead and just print out how many of those guys we received. just proving it worked. So we're going to say if object, actually I want this to be called objects, is not equal to nil. So if we actually got an array back, because this guy is a optional, so if I actually did receive an array of PF objects, let's just go ahead and print out how many of them we got. So we'll say print objects.count. And I'll go ahead and do that. All right, so in our little world right now, we should get a 2. All right, so after I log in, as part of viewDidLoad, it's going to go ahead and grab all the roles whose owner ID is equal to the current user. It's going to find those in the background, and as soon as it finds it, assuming it found anything, it's going to go ahead and print out the number of objects. I'll throw an else in there and say else print none found or something like that. Okay, so this is going to retrieve crap from Parse. Yep.
Is there a reason you force out objects with the
This guy?
Yeah.
If I'm in here, I already know it's not equal to null. In fact, I thought the way these guys worked is I should be able to just do that.
I think you gotta assign that to another thing.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Okay.
So the reality is this is how I can keep it from screaming at me. But more importantly, when I print this out, if I leave the question mark in there, it'll put the word optional around it with the parentheses. So this will rip it out of that little format. I would not be inside this if statement unless I knew objects had something in it. Make sense? Did that answer what you were asking?
Yeah, I'm just wondering why you don't do the if let objects equal to objects or something, or object.
Oh, because that's the thing that gives you the new variable. Yeah, I just don't like that syntax.
Okay.
When you can just pull off the same thing here with the exclamation point, they're equivalent. Just the other one takes up another variable, or yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think the language should notice that you're wrapping it in an if statement that's checking to see if it's null, and then when you use it inside of there, you shouldn't need to use exclamation.
Well, most of the time it's actually not a problem, because most of the time if I'm in control of it, I would just make this an exclamation point. But in this particular case, I don't know for sure if Parse is going to give me something or not. So this is one of those scenarios where you actually kind of have to check. But I agree with what you're saying is that why can't it just intelligently know that since I checked it here, let's just roll with it here? But I guess, yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good solution to that. There's a lot of things that Swift does that I think it does unnecessarily. Because it tries to fix a whole bunch of perceived problems from old languages, and then it also tries to be everything for everybody. It tries to make the Java people happy, tries to make all the Python, Ruby, all the HTML5 based developers happy. Which seems very strange, seeing as though one of the overarching goals of Swift tends to be to reduce the amount of extra crap the programmer has to type. Like, oh yeah, we took away the parentheses that go around the if statement, and you don't need semicolons anymore. But all these new symbols we've introduced that you have to just type all over the place seems to be obnoxious. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this, and we should get a 2. Just print it out to the console. Did I click? Is it cooking? Or is the internet like down right now?
Very possible. Spread.
Let's go into login VC here. Print, trying to log in. I'm actually going to print that down farther. So after it goes through all that stuff and it's actually going to try to log in, we'll do this. Trying to log in. And then one of those two things should happen. So we should see it trying to log in now. Usually I thought we get like that error that says kind of like a long running process or something like that. All right, well that loaded slowly, but it did load. It's just sitting there cooking. I wish I knew if it was being blocked by the huh?
You can go on my DP. I have it open.
You have your
Hotspot.
okay. Do I even want to know what your password is?
It's
I want to know what the
David K. Thanks.
DP stands for.
David, all lowercase.
Yeah. Dude, I got Sprint. It's unlimited.
Is this is that it?
Yeah. Oh no. THX. No. Just TH. Get rid of that.
Oh, that.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Ruh-roh. I didn't like that at all.
Can you go to the storyboard really fast? You didn't like delete the next screen, did you?
As far as I know. We can find out pretty quick by copying this and saying success or something like that. Maybe you're right. What damage have I done? Let's log in VC. Daisy, okay. Looks legit. Let's just close it, reopen. See if all of our problems go away. All right. So we're definitely getting in there. We get to our login, we get to success. So let's walk through this. Where's my login screen? There we go. Okay, well, we know we're getting here. Okay. All right, so we have a PF user. We have our success. We have that guy is a user homepage VC. Oh, well, if that's the case, then we probably want to kill the simulator and restart the simulator. He must have zigged when he should have zagged.
Nice.
User homepage VC. So is this guy just not presentable anymore? Just try something here. I'm going to try to present our register screen. All right. Let's see if we can show the register screen on there, then we'll know that something's broken of.
We give you an option of what to do.
UI view controller not unwrapped. So let's see if this will at least take us to the register screen. Then we'll know it's something on our user homepage screen. I would expect I'd be getting a crash.
You mean instead of not doing anything?
Right, like I would get some sort of, yeah. Okay. So that works. This does not, which means that our user homepage must be broken.
Why do you use the let UHVC equals self.storyboard question mark? Why do you put a question mark after the storyboard?
Because the storyboard it may not be there. You don't have to use storyboards.
Oh,
I didn't put it. It did the completion itself.
Okay.
Okay, so we have that. So let me see if I can get the app to break another way then. Just take this guy and put him there. Let's see if we can just go there on launch. Hopefully this throws up. Okay, and it is. All right, something is busted on that screen. So it has to be related to our view-did-load, the thing we just put in there. That's in this. Just for a moment here, let me just do that and make sure it still loads. Then we can look at that code more closely.
Does the watch, are you running the watch also? Do we need to with this because of the WC session?
It's a reasonable question actually, but I think we'd already gotten to the screen before. Kind of put everything back. All right. So we're back to that. So now let me put that code back in that we just had. And I'm not going to change it at all for the moment. All right, so there's something wrong in this code. Query equals this. Is it that? Find objects in background with block. Let's just try running it without the, maybe I'm doing that wrong.
Yeah, it's like trying to search for some like user ID that isn't there, so it's just.
Yeah, that is the problem. And there's our 2. All right, so query dot is it like has value, performs? Ah, where key. That's where I screwed up. You wouldn't think it'd give the other thing an option if it wasn't, let's see, where key equals to. All right, this is it. Owner underscore ID equal to phone core dot current user. All right, that's what I meant to do. I don't know what the other thing was trying to do, but it was definitely blocking. So had we put a stopper here, we would have never gotten past this line. That's what was happening, and that's why the other one wasn't popping up. So we should still get our 2 here, but now it's the right 2 rather than the wrong 2.
How would it get 2 then?
Because I was retrieving every single roll, and they just happened to be owned by the exact same values logged in. If I went in and I changed one of the roles, so we should still have our 2. Okay. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and give ourselves a, let's just do it inside of phone core initially. So here's our, the row data. What are we using that guy for? I bet you we're not using it anymore. It must have been something we were using before. Yeah.
Yeah, for the details of that.
Yeah. So we can just go ahead and take this guy out. We use this guy. So it's going to be a PF object array there called the row data. And then do we already have access to our table view in here? We do not. So let me do this, and then I'll give you your assignment now that we have this reading, right? Here, I'm going to give myself programmatic access to this table view. All right, we'll just call this the table view. Close this, come back in here, user homepage. All right, so after we finally get our count here, then what are we going to do? And I think, didn't we do this inside of phone core here? I'm going to change our row data to no longer be, he's going to be a PF object, an empty array. That way we can use him in our table view. Because initially you'll have nothing in there, because since this request is happening in the background, our table view is still going to try to populate himself off of this variable. So we'll come in here. And as soon as we get into the code here, we'll go ahead and set phone core dot the row data equal to objects. And then we'll say self dot the table view dot reload data to tell it to refresh itself. Okay. And then, what's this guy screaming about right now? Oh. Screaming about this. Now he's happy again. All right, then down here, right now we're just hard coding blah side, some quantity, and woot in there. When I first run it, the number of things is going to be 0 because I'm going to have one section. And the number of rows I'm going to have here is always going to be phone core dot the row data dot count. When I first come into the screen, the row data is going to have 0 rows in it because that's what I advertised here in phone core. All right, so it'll have 0 rows, but then after the request finishes, after I ask for all the rows associated with the currently logged in user, it will then give me all those rows, the 2 of them in this case. It'll set phone core's value equal to that, and then we're telling the table view to go ahead and reload itself, which should then call all those methods again, and right now give us 2 rows. Okay, so let's see that happen. And then your homework assignment will be to fill in those rows with the appropriate data for quantity, number of sides, and the details. Okay, so I'll go ahead and log in here. 2, 3. So at first, well, trust me, we would have only seen 0 at first, but the search came up. Then this thing pre-populated. So we actually saw this guy happen twice. If I were to print out in here, that code got called twice. First time it returned to 0, so there was no rows. The second time it returned to 2 after we finally populated our number of rows. Where was that guy? Up here, after we populated our number of rows right here, and then told the table to reload itself. All right, so your homework is, now that we're actually getting those values, update this code to fill the labels with the proper values. Okay, should take 5 minutes. Okay, so it shouldn't be hard, but if some of you have to bang on this a little bit, go ahead. But in any case, I'll go ahead and commit this to GitHub, so you'll have it, and I'll put the assignment up here in just a few minutes. From class on 11/30/15. Remote repository could not be found. Oh.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was hoping it wasn't going to throw a error message. Those people were just like freaking out.
I'm assuming there's root beer in there.
There's nothing in there right now. There's going to be